Today we're going to look at the worst reanimation cards in Magic the Gathering. A very timely topic for Halloween. Okay, we're going to start off with Jasper's Rab suggestion, Return of the Night Stalkers. It's a 7-mana sorcery. Return all Night Stalker cards from your graveyard to play, and then you have to blow up all your swamps. Oh, how many Night Stalkers are there out there? I don't actually know. Let's go look for a second. Okay, type line, creature, Night Stalker. Boom, give me everything. It's a whole 12 cards. This is everything that you can reanimate with the Return of the Night Stalker reanimator. All these beautiful, we got a Swamp Walker. We got a 2/2. We have a 1/1. There's even a 2/1 flyer in all of this. My goodness. You have a really good pick of a million things that you could reanimate. You might be completely winning. Who needs all those swamps after all this? Also protects you from someone who has Swamp Walk. Sorry, you want to destroy all your swamps. This is really bad if you're in an Urborg metagame, that's for sure. Okay, oh, there's still no music. Okay, we're gonna have music in a second. Sorry about that. Music is on its way. There we go. We got music, hopefully. Okay, next up, we're gonna go with Lewis's Emeria. Emeria, the Sky Ruin. Oh, there's a lot of Emeria cards. What does this thing do again? Enters the battlefield tapped at the beginning of your upkeep. If you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is right. It is a reanimator card. It's not even in black, which makes it even more awkward. And you can only return a target creature card. If you control 7 or more planes, you may return target creature card. It's actually any creature card, so I mean that's pretty good overall. You just have to get the 7 or more planes, and you also have to wait to your upkeep. Really strong value. The 7 or more planes part, that's the difficult part amongst all things. All right. Well, the card is good, but is it a good reanimator? Like, you're gonna play it? Are you gonna fill your graveyard for the Emeria, the Sky Ruin strategy? Okay, next up. Anime Dead is way too good for this show. I know what Anime Dead does. Okay, let's look at Julian with Chrono Savant. Remember, we need bad cards. We need the worst. The worst of the worsts. It's a 6-mana 5/5 giant. Now for 2 mana, we can return Chrono Savant from your graveyard to play tap. But you have to skip your next turn. It doesn't even come into play untapped. So we're basically taking, I don't know, maybe 2 turns off. I waste my turn to put this 5/5 in play, and then I don't even get a turn after that. I don't even get a turn to attack. Okay, we got Kagan with the Gravespawn Sovereign. Gotta tap so many zombos. Gravespawn Sovereign. 6 mana for a 3/3 zombie. Tap 5 untapped zombies you control. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You do need a lot of zombies. You need to... I have a feeling if you have 5 untapped zombies, you do not even need this 6 mana card. Not to mention, a lot of the zombies already come back from the graveyard already. It's big win more. It's got big win more energy. Is what I'm reading over here. King Ginger with Grave Walker? Grave Waker. 6 mana 5/5 bird spirit flying. For 7 mana, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. This is big, good draft card energy. For 6 mana, you have a 5/5 flyer and start reanimating things onto the battlefield. This is a slam dunk for pack 1, pick 1 rare. I don't know if it's a slam dunk. It's like, it's got really good, what's it called? Inevitability. That's the word that I'm looking for here. Kano a Triassic Egg. This one, Triassic Egg. The egg reanimates something. Do cards with a return an artifact to the battlefield ability count if that happens to return artifact creatures? I don't want to count it. It's too cheatsy. There's a lot of cards that reanimate artifacts. Okay, Triassic Egg, the 4 mana artifact. Pay 3, tap. Put a hatchling counter on Triassic Egg. Remove 2 hatchling counters from Triassic Egg. Sacrifice it. And put target creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. That makes no sense. None whatsoever. It would make some sense to me that this, I mean, I know they don't have imprint or whatever, but you cast this card and you imprint a creature from your hand onto it, and then the egg cracks and it is hatched. Something from the graveyard. Sounds weird, giving birth from the dead. Okay, John, thanks so much for your super chat. We've got Enslaved Horror. It's a 4-mana 4/4 horror. Now, when Enslaved Horror comes into play, each other player may return a creature card from their graveyard to play. Oh no! It's anti-synergy. This is anti-graveyard reanimation. We're not reanimating anything. We're making them reanimate. It's not even a good card. It's a 4/4 for 4. That was like Masticore stats at that time. Good God. Oh, man. What fastest way to die? How can I quickly commit seppuku over here? Okay, we have Ashen Ghoul from Christopher B. Ashen Ghoul. 4-mana 3/1 with haste. It is a zombie. For a black, return Ashen Ghoul from your graveyard to play. Play this ability only during your upkeep, and only if 3 or more creature cards are above Ashen Ghoul. Oh, God! The worst part of this card, we have to remember Graveyard Order. I don't want to remember any Graveyard Order over here. And we need 3 creatures. So we reanimate this thing, it dies. I gotta kill off 3 more cards in order to enable everything. It might as well stay dead. Okay, next up. Let's take... Does Abiding Grace count? Hold on. This is a pretty good card, to be honest. It's a white 2 generic enchantment, although it's pretty bad at, like, if you use this in a reanimator strategy. At the beginning of your end step, choose 1. You can gain 1 life, or you can return target creature card with mana value 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's really good with, like, little dork strategies, fog effects, and so on. But if you're going for some big baddie, there's not a lot of slim pickings over there at 1 mana. Not a lot of meat on those 1 mana creatures. Okay, Pabno with the Mold Graph Monstrosity. Mold Graph? This is a 7-mana 8/8 insect with trample. When Mold Graph Monstrosity dies, exile it, then return 2 creature cards at random from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we're going to be taking our chances here. We don't know what we're going to get. We could roll 7, we could roll 6. It's more of an insurance policy, if anything else. You're not even meaning to reanimate anything. Oh, you can actually get it back too, right? When it dies, oh no, you can't. You exile it. How quickly I forgot. I read one thing, it goes right out the other ear. It's gone. That's why I don't like to draft. I can't draft for crap. I hate pre-releases because I'm reading cards for the first time, and obviously I don't read them right, and then I just die to them horribly. It's the life of me, and when I go to the pre-release. If you're only running it with other fatties in a reanimator deck, seems half decent. You do have to sacrifice. If you do have a sacrifice outlet, that might work. 7 mana to enable your reanimation strategy. I don't know if it's worth it. Next up, we have a Blackbird with Unch Ben Back. The Great Mistake. Okay, it's a 5-mana 6/4 skeleton horror. It's got Vigilance and Menace. Descend 8. And then for 6 mana, return Uchenbach, the Great Mistake, from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Activate only if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, and also only as a sorcery. Frankly, I wouldn't mind having the ability. I don't mind that at all. Okay, next up. I see a super chat around here. Maybe not. Okay, next up, we're going to have Hinaria with Out of the Tombs. Out of the Tombs. Maybe they should have just stayed there. 3-mana enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. Put 2 Eon counters on out of the tombs. Then mill cards equal to the number of Eon counters on it. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you can't, you lose the game. High risk, high reward. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it. So then mill cards. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards, instead return a creature card. Oh, I see. Yeah, your life total is now the creatures in the graveyard. So don't be running out of those. You need those. One rest in peace, and it's all over. Be wary of graveyard hate. Be wary of, was it Crypt Incursion, I think? I think it's Crypt Incursion. Exile all creatures in target player's graveyard. Vinovsky, Blood on the Snow. Oh, the arrows, just like, was it Boromir? Boromir and the arrows got shot in the back a million times. Okay, 6 mana for a snow sorcery. Choose one. You can destroy all creatures, or you can destroy all planeswalkers, then return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this spell. And the only question I have is, what does that have to do with the picture? I don't get it. I have no idea what this picture is trying to convey here. I can see, I don't know, I can see the destruction of one creature. One. But I don't see the reanimation of something coming back from the battlefield. Okay, we got Kagan with how about Coffin Queen? A little Coffin Queen action here. Is that the name of like a coffin store? Go get your coffin around here. Black 2 generic 1/1 zombie wizard. You may choose not to untap Coffin Queen during your untap step. Now, you can pay 3 mana, tap, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When Coffin Queen becomes untapped or you lose control of Coffin Queen, you exile the creature. Oh, so it's actually just stone cold removal. Sort of. Well, it's removal for the graveyard. Okay, forget it. Usually, okay, my brain is a little messed up here. Usually when you like steal a creature, it's there until you like coffin, like usually the creature that stole the creature, if it dies, the opponent gets the creature back. But in this case, it would go back to the graveyard. Instead, it gets exiled. So no harm done. You kill the Coffin Queen. Remember, you have to go after the Queen Bee. Kill off the Queen Bee and everything is fine. Next up, we have 248, Dance of the Dead. Isn't this a troll? Elgot says animate graveyard. Isn't that a troll card? Okay, Dance of the Dead. 2 mana. Oh god, what am I in for here? Aura. Enchant creature card in a graveyard. When Dance of the Dead comes into play, if it's in play, it loses enchant card in graveyard and gains enchant creature. Return enchanted creature card to the battlefield to play tapped under your control and attach Dance of the Dead to it. When it leaves play, that creature's controller sacrifices it. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. It doesn't untap! At the beginning of your upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, the player pay 2. If they do, untap that creature. Honestly, it's not bad. I actually think this is too good for the show. It's like, it's basically 2 mana reanimate. It's animate dead. It's just 2 mana. It's animate dead with downside, but still animate dead in my opinion. Okay, next super chat come from King Ginger. The Blood Bond March in Commander. Blood Bond March is a 4 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature spell is played, each player returns all creature cards with the same name as that spell from the graveyard to play. Oh yeah, so okay. So yeah, in Commander, stone cold garbage, because if you play one creature, it's the only creature. It won't. I think technically this card should be able to bring back nothing. Whenever a creature spell is played, which means cast, each player returns all cards with the same name as that spell from their graveyard to play. Wait a minute. No, oh no, wait. There's Relentless Rat. You know what? I'm wrong. There's Relentless Rats. So this is what is this a Relentless Rats deck? Or apostle, what is it? Apostle of something? There's another apostle thing. Okay, so maybe this has play in a very niche strategy. But either way, just awful card. Awful, terrible. What is this, Ida? Say its name? Ooh, a new one. You think this is a bad Reanimator strategy? 2 mana, sorcery, mill 3 cards. You may return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile this card and 2 other cards named Say its name from your graveyard. Search your library. Search your graveyard, hand, or library for a card named Altanak, the thrice called, and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Activate only as a sorcery. I have no idea how good. Yeah, I actually have no idea how good or bad this card is. Could be good. I heard someone in the World Championship actually got this off on turn something, reanimated something, but you do need 3. I'm trying to think, like, maybe you could, like, intuition for Say Its Name. All 3 Say Its Names. And then, I don't know, you get the creature in the graveyard. A lot of work. Yeah, probably a lot of work. What do we got here? Meme Brule. Glyph. Reincarnation. Green instant. Play after combat is over. Okay, I'm not reading the ancient scripture. I have a feeling it's dead wrong. Cast this spell only after combat. See, that's way more clear. Destroy all creatures that were blocked by target wall this turn. What? They can't be regenerated. For each creature that died this way, put a creature card from the graveyard of the player who controlled that creature the last time it became blocked by that wall onto the battlefield under its owner's control. What? For each creature that died this way, put a creature card from the graveyard of the player who controlled that creature the last time it became blocked by that wall onto the battlefield under its owner's control. I'm like, yeah, this is a confusing card, and you know what Toads is like, glyphs are confusing and just bad unless you were playing walls. That's so old school. You know what, walls might come back, Toads. They might come back. So confusing, it's terrible. Dangerous one at the super chat. Ether Rift, pick a card, any card. Ether Rift is a 3-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card at random from your hand. If you discard a creature card this way, put that card into play unless any player pays 5 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, discard a card. If you discard a creature card, I see. So could be Reanimator, or you could just be discarding your cards for nothing. Also, if your opponent has a lot of life to pay, you lose. They lose 5 life, though. Maybe good for a burn Reanimator strategy. Is there a documentary on 90s Magic card creators and what the heck they were thinking? Probably not a documentary. There's probably some articles, though. Because there's a lot of people who played back then, or played and designed cards back then, that are sort of they at least talked with people who are designers today. So the designers today, they understand the mentality of the designers of yesterday. You counting the unearth mechanic? What are you talking about? You mean the actual card Unearth? Okay, next up, we got David Hauer with Triumphant Reckoner. Triumphant. How many triumphant cards are there? You mean Triumphant Reckoning? Oh yeah, you meant Reckoning. Okay, 9 mana, sorcery. Return all artifact, enchantment, and planeswalker cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Is actually insane. That's very powerful. You get what you pay for. It's 9 mana. I'm not playing this thing. You'll never see me caught dead playing a 9 mana card in my deck. So in that case, it's bad. It's bad in competitive Magic. But holy crap, it's all artifact, enchantment, and planeswalker cards. Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't actually reanimate creatures. Oh, you know, well, it hits a planeswalker. Maybe we can count a planeswalker. Cheat this thing out? You mean cheat out the Triumphant Reckoning somehow? Reckoning does not reanimate creatures. Yeah, I know. Okay, we got to disqualify that one. Okay, Kagan with the super chat with Agadim Cultist. I didn't know Agadim was so involved. I don't know what Agadim is. Agadim, Occultist. This is a 3-mana 0/2 human shaman ally. Tap. Put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control if its converted mana cost is less than or equal the number of allies you control. You hear that? You know what that means? Changelings. That's right. You have changelings, and you will reanimate their cards in absolute no time. Good luck with the changeling / ally deck, though. Reanimate artifact creature. No, well, it does reanimate artifact creatures, but we're not counting artifact creatures. Otherwise, you're going to give me a bunch of artifact reanimation slop. Hexanort, extraction specialist. Extraction. No, this is like a tier 1 card. This is actually really, really good. This is actually a banger. This is like a standard Pioneer All-Star. 3-mana 3/2. If you can get good stuff at mana value 2 or less from your graveyard. Now, the extraction specialist can't attack or anything like that, but that's okay. Because you get back your creature. It's so cheap! And if the creature dies, you get your 3/2 lifelinker unlocked. Did we do Crypt Champion? Dio Brando? Oh, maybe not. 4 mana, 2/2 double strike. It's a zombie. When Crypt Champion comes into play, each player puts a creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from their graveyard into play. When Crypt Champion comes into play, sacrifice it unless red was spent to play it. Comes to play, sack it. I need to spend 5 mana. And then when it comes into play, each player puts a creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from the graveyard into play. Who's to say I'm going to be the winner out of all this? I do get a 2/2 double striker out of it. Sheelan, search for survivors. It's too unreliable. Search for survivors. It's red. 3 mana sorcery. Shuffle your graveyard. An opponent chooses a card at random. And then if that card is a creature card, put it into play. Otherwise, remove it from the game. I mean, I guess the idea is you need to have 1 card in your graveyard. Got to reduce those random chances. Otherwise, useless. Okay, next up, we got Steve Cooper with Infernal Offering. This is fun. There's a lot of bad reanimator cards these days. 5 mana for a sorcery. Choose an opponent. You and that player each sacrifice a creature. Each player who sacrificed a creature this way draws 2 cards. But choose an opponent. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then that player returns a creature card from their graveyard to the battlefield. Be careful what you choose for. There's always a bigger creature out there. Everyone who plays the show and tell deck in like Cube, they always think, oh, they're the big baddie. And then they accidentally put some sort of Archon of Cruelty or some nonsense in play. How about Unburial Rites? It's quite expensive for what it does. That is a combo card. That is like one of the most popular combo cards in the game. Way too good for this show. It's David Sampson, Dawn of the Dead. It's pretty clunky. You can sack the creature before you exile it, though, so that's cool. All right, we have a 5 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. Now, with that 1 life, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to play. That creature gains haste until end of turn. Remove it from the game at end of turn. That honestly doesn't look half bad. It is expensive. You're going to basically dump your entire hand. So you're going to waste your turn putting this into play. Then you only get the creature next turn. Your opponents have a lot of opportunity to destroy the enchantment, to interact with the graveyard. Yeah, they could just wipe the graveyard. You technically lose some life at the beginning of your upkeep, so it could be slightly closer to your death. But I agree. Not very good. Okay, next we have a super chat from Robert. Thank you very much for your super chat. Haunting Voyage. This is a 6-mana sorcery. Choose a creature type. Return up to 2 creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, if this spell was foretold, return all creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield instead. 6 mana! Return 2 creatures. Or what is it, like, we have to spend... During your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card. Then we have to... Or we could spend 9 to get them all at the same time. I don't know. I don't know about this one. That's a little bit too much mana to reanimate everything. If you sack it, it doesn't get exiled. It's kind of cool. Oh, is that right? Dawn of the Dead. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature gains haste until its turn. Exile at the beginning. Yeah, that's right. You sack it, you keep it for forever. Someone out here gonna make Dawn of the Dead a real thing in the future. It's gonna be a $20 card. Avatar Woe with Cedrus, the Traitor King. Cedrus. It's for Toad's Unearth effect. Okay, we have 6 mana for a 5/5. Each creature card in your graveyard has Unearth. 3 mana. Return this card to the battlefield. The creature gains haste, but then you have to exile at the beginning of the next end. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield at all. Unearth only as a sorcery. It's funny. Each creature card except Cedrus, if Cedrus is in the graveyard. Who doesn't have a card yet? Leslian, a champion of Stray Souls. Six mana for a 4/4 skeleton warrior. I'm surprised how many creatures actually reanimate creatures. 5 mana, tap, sacrifice X other creatures, return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Also for 7 mana, put Champion of Stray Souls on the top of your library from your graveyard. All right, so if you somehow deal with all the creatures in play, you somehow deal with the Champion of the Stray Souls, Champion of Stray Souls is coming back. It's coming back, baby. It was funny, we have to still sack creatures to get creatures. It's like the ad, you gotta spend money to make money around here. Old boy, Dreams of the Dead. Nikachu has gone nose blind. I don't even know what that means. 4 mana for an enchantment. Pay 2. Return target white or black creature from your graveyard to play. That creature gains cumulative upkeep 2. If the creature would leave play, remove it from the game instead. Return target white or black creature from your graveyard to play. The creature gains... That creature is not going to stay... It's basically return a creature from the graveyard to play and then exile it later because you're not going to even pay this cumulative upkeep of 2. But you know, here's the most impressive thing about this card. It's blue reanimation. Now, it's blue reanimation, but you can only target white or black cards. It's like, well, yeah, what a blue card. But you still need to be in black or white. Like, what's the point of playing this one? Unbelievable. Oh, you hear the music. It means it's time to thank our sponsors. We're going to look at more horrible Reanimator cards that you might be interested in playing. But we got to thank our sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. My favorite place to buy my Magic the Gathering cards. Duskmourn House of Horrors is out also. Don't forget Magic the Gathering Foundation, setting the foundation for Standard for the next 3 years. Also can set the foundation to your next Standard, Pioneer, or Modern deck. Check out the cards and spoilers and pre-order them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank, of course, Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. For the client, Magic Online. They have Commander. They got 1v1 Commander. They got all the paper formats. Pauper, Pioneer, Standard, Modern, Legacy, Vintage. You can play all the decks when you're renting with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below or save. You can get 40% cash back on your 3rd month subscription when you use coupon code Nikachu_4VU. Okay, back to the terrible Reanimator cards. Awful. Worse than worse. Okay, we got Ryan here with Junji, the Midnight Sky. No, the Dragon Spirit is bad. 5 mana for a 5/5. How could that be terrible? It's got Flying and Menace. When it dies, choose one. It's got to die. In order to live, you must be willing to die. Each opponent you can choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. or put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose 2 life. It's gotta be a non-dragon. Why I put this in? I think a dragon decks would love this, but it's not. It's anti-synergy with the dragon decks. Oh, I guess it's so it doesn't reanimate itself. That would be the problem. Nose blindness is your brain / nose ignoring certain stimuli due to constant exposure of it. Oh, absolutely. Happens all the time on this show. Okay, we got Kagan. My Undead Horde awakens, because Nikachu won't know how to get this card in play. My Undead Horde awakens. It's a scheme. We're supposed to be playing Arch Enemy or something? An ongoing scheme remains face up until it's abandoned. That was a term I didn't know existed in Magic the Gathering. You can abandon cards. At the beginning of your end step, you may put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When a creature put onto the battlefield, when a creature put onto the battlefield with the scheme is put into a graveyard, abandon this scheme. You're correct. I have absolutely no idea what this means. It means nothing to me. Chris Bonehead, in name as one. Ooh, this is a card that's been on the show a million times. Just for being one of the worst cards ever. 12 mana for an 8/8. Comes into play if you played it from your hand. I don't know why you did. I don't know how we got that far. You may search your library for a spirit card and put that one into play. Show off your library. But when it's put into a graveyard from play, you may remove it from the game. And if you do, return target spirit card from your graveyard to play. Wow, 12 mana, it dies, and all you get is a spirit card back. Unbelievable. Next up, we've got Summer Mermaid Star, Lunar Hatchling. It's so meh, reanimates itself, but you have to exile land and others. Okay, we'll see about that. Okay, it's Simic Reanimation. 6 mana for a 6/6, flying trample, basic land cycling. But you can escape it. Ah, yes, the escape mechanic. Exile land you control. Exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. True story. Dance of the Dead. To be honest, I've never seen... Oh, no, we looked at this. We actually said, well, I think it's good, in my opinion. Okay, just a random mage. Canop Tech Tomb Sentinel. All the NCYs are coming out. For anyone new to the show, that means no card yet. I'm trying to give everyone get a chance around the show. Everyone's going to be part of the show. 4 mana, 4/3 Insect, Vigilance. Exile Cannon. When Canop Deck Tomb Sentinel enters the battlefield from a graveyard, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. Also, it's got Unearthed. God, that is a very expensive Unearthed. So when enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. That's not a whole lot of permanents here. It's like the crappiest graveyard hate I've ever seen. Surefire Selves with a Makeshift Mannequin. This is a 4 mana instant. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a mannequin counter on it. And for as long as that creature has a mannequin counter on it, it has. When this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. Why? That is terrible. This is the worst. 4 mana for your reanimation spell. If you so much blow on it a little bit, it dies. It's like, I don't know. It's like Mr. Burns. Could just the slightest breeze will end up killing him. Okay, Michael wants Enduring Renewal. Well, we've seen this one before. The 4 mana enchantment. Okay, we got Play with Our Hand revealed. If you draw a card, reveal the top card of your library instead. If it's creature card, put it into your hand. Sorry, put it into your graveyard. Otherwise, draw a card. Whenever a creature is put into your graveyard from play, return it to your hand. Oh, this doesn't count because it doesn't return to play, right? I see where you're going with this, but it's got to be cards that go from the graveyard to the. Sorry, it's got to be creatures going from the graveyard to the battlefield. That's what reanimation is. That's the spirit. The spirit, I'm telling you. Toilet Duck. Liliana. Heretic Healer. I actually don't know what the backside of this is. Seems like a PETA to meet the requirements for using it to reanimate. I don't even know. What do you mean PETA? Seems like a... Yeah, I don't know what PETA stands for. Okay, we have a 3-mana 2/3 lifelinker. Now, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile Liliana Heretic Healer, then return to the battlefield. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie. Now we got... It's hard enough to get this thing online. +2, each player discards a card. -X, return target non-legendary creature card with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. Not to mention, -8, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. It's like, it's pretty bad as like your reanimator strategy. It's mostly a bonus in addition to everything else this card does. Last time I had a card was Monday. Puppeteer Clique. Puppeteer... How many cliques are there? All right. Sort of looks like someone's having a party, but this is a scarecrow? It's a fairy wizard? Or this the Puppeteer Clique? Okay, 5 mana for a 3/2 fairy wizard with flying. When Puppeteer Clique enters the battlefield, put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste. Now, at the beginning of your next end step, exile, and this thing has persist. Target creature card from an opponent's graveyard. That's not bad. The effect is pretty good. Plus, you get a 3/2 creature. It reminds me of what's it called? The Something of Sorrow. There's the battlefield, and also it has persist. Target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control against haste. Okay. We do have to, at the beginning of your next end, we do have to exile it. So it's like that stealing card, those red stealing cards, and there's no guarantee that we're even gonna get something good out of the graveyard. Okay, Kagan, you got also you gotta add tap plane for this one. Grixis? I don't get it. Oh, Grixis. Oh yeah, you said okay. T plane, not to be mistaken with T pain. It still didn't spell right. Grixis, the Grixis. To be honest, I didn't even know what Grixis was. Blue, black, and or red creature cards in your graveyard have unearthed. The unearthed cost is equal to the card's mana cost. How do you get these cards in play? I know you have to roll like a chaos dice or something. That's all I know about these cards. It's a plane chaser. How many people have played Plane Chase? Raise your hands. How many people still play Plane Chase? That's the real question. That's the question above all questions. Nightmare Incarnation. I don't know how good this is. Funeral Room. Well, here's the problem. I don't even know how these rooms work. 3 mana. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Now you may cast either half. Okay, what if we cast the other half? We have Awakening Halt. When you unlock this door, we have to unlock the door. You may cast either half. That door unlocks on the battlefield. As a sorcery, you may pay the amount of mana cost of a locked door to unlock it. So I have to play Funeral Room first. When you unlock this door, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a lot of work. That's an entire 9 mana. Summer Mermaid Star raises hand for Plane Chase. Played it like a handful of times for the Plane Chase. So you recognize these cards. This looks so alien to me. This looks like it came from a different TCG. Like, that's a magic that if from a distance you gave me like 3 seconds to identify if this was a magic card or not, I'd be like, nope, that's not a magic card. For Ginka, Patriarch's Bidding. What are we bidding on? 5 mana sorcery. Each player chooses a creature type. Each player returns all creature cards of the type chosen this way from the graveyard to the battlefield. They tried to... I don't even know where you play this. That, like, again, like vampires, zombies, they've got like a lot of built-in great reanimation strategies as they are. Hazardous Contact. Virtue of Persistence. Just expensive and always countered. Oh... It's funny. You're sort of describing your play group here, Hazardous Contact. It always gets countered. 7 mana enchantment. It does have the Lothwain Scorn. For 2 mana, it's a sorcery. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. You gain 2 life. And at the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You know what? Actually, this is played in Pioneer, believe it or not. This is a because there is a combo deck that plays this. It's like I forget the mechanic. It's like Cascade, but it's not Cascade. It's this elephant Pioneer deck or whatever. And so they play this card mostly because of the removal spell, but the because it's like a 2 mana card that doesn't get hit by what was that? What's that mechanic? I don't remember. Not Cascade. It's like fixed Cascade, but where it really wasn't. Yeah, how bad can it be if everyone wants to counter it? Oh yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I mean, when the situation comes up, you know. That's what it was. Quintorius, Cand, and Discover. It's played in the Quintorius Cand deck because you get to play this Lothwain Scorn thing. Oh, these cheap cards. It does. Sorry, you get to play a 2 mana removal spell, but it doesn't get detected by the Discover because it's actually 7 mana. Thanks everyone who helped me out there. Joe Tiefer, Rhea Dawnbringer. Isn't this a good card? Oh no, I could be mistaken here. I hear the word Dawnbringer. I'm like, that must be some great angel. But maybe it's a garbage angel. 9 mana for a 4/6 flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think you didn't sell a lot of angel players saying this is a bad one. But I'm not playing it, so I don't blame you. Did we look at Betrayal of Flesh? Betrayal of Flesh. 6 mana instant. Choose one. Destroy target creature or return target creature card from your graveyard to play. That's right, for 6 mana. You can also entwine it. Sacrifice 3 lands. That better be... You're never going to recast this damn thing. Choose both. Oh, I see. Yeah, you choose both. You could destroy a creature and reanimate a card. Is it any card? No, it has to be from my graveyard. If only they let me pluck from any graveyard. Okay, Typhon, Pulse Mage Advocate. Uh, 3 mana, 1/3 Cleric. Is it tap? Return 3 target cards in an opponent's graveyard to their hand and return target creature card from your graveyard to play. So, okay, I propose something for you. You get Ancestral Recall. I get creature. We have a fair trade around here. Easy Mercify. Nikachu, hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Easy Mercify. Dreams of the Dead. I didn't know the Dead Dream. Oh, we looked at this card already. Sorry about that. You have to just come up with another one. Yeah, we did. I think we did Triassic Egg 2, unfortunately. Easy Mercify. Try again! It's free to always try again. Okay, what do we got? Necromancy. That's just one of the best reanimator spells, right? It's one of the best. Necromancy. Yeah, absolutely. This is like one of the key reanimator cards. You'd see that in every cube. Seen Legacy play probably once, maybe. Probably. Portal to Phyrexia. Too strong. What do you mean? Is Portal to Phyrexia too strong? Well, it is too strong. So the deal is this card is pretty crappy as a reanimator because it's like 9 mana. But it's good as it's funny. It's a card that you want to cheat in play so you can cheat the people's creatures in play. Artifact for 9. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. That's devastating. And at the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. So the deal is, it's probably too good for this show, to be honest. It's played by too many decks. It's a very, very strong card. But the funny thing is, very few people just like hard cast this. They usually cheat it in play somehow. But it's really good once you get it in play. And he just slams the door on them. Benjamin says, does Shieldred's restoration count? We can rebuild her. We have the technology. It's a 4-mana sorcery. Kicker of a white and 2 generic. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If the spell was kicked, you gain life equal to that card's mana value. Otherwise, you lose that much life, and then you exile Shieldred's restoration. Doesn't seem worth the mana at all. Bell, Strands of Night. Strands of Night is a 4-mana enchantment. Pay a black, pay 2 life. Sacrifice a swamp. All right, we're gonna have to take a loan out from the bank to pay for this. Return target creature card from your graveyard to play. This is like total of 6 mana, 2 life, sack a swamp. We're not gonna even need our swamps anymore. We're so far deeply in debt over here. Deeply in debt over here. Michael, it's funny. Suggest necromancy. Well, I guess I don't know any bad reanimator cards. You know, only the good ones. Next up, we have Dustin Newbie with Knight of the Holy Nimbus. I use it in my Jank Knight deck. We love the Jank. What's this horse doing in the middle of nowhere? White, 2/2, Human Rebel Knight. It's got flanking. Now, if Knight of the Holy Nimbus would be destroyed, regenerate it. And also pay 2. Knight of the Holy Nimbus can't be regenerated this turn. Only your opponents may activate this ability. This has nothing to do with reanimation at all. I was like reading it thinking, oh, this is going to go somewhere. This is the wrong show. Milo. We have Okiba Salvage. Not even worth it in limited, you say. The 5-mana sorcery. Return target creature or vehicle card from your graveyard to play. Then put 2+1/+1 counters on that permanent. If you control an artifact and an enchantment. Okay. So just 5 mana reanimate like a vehicle or creature. Because what are the odds we have an artifact and an enchantment to meet this? What do we not here? Surefire Self says Strands of Night is godlike in my Varak Commander deck, and pretty much nothing else. Oh, you're talking about this card. Easy Mercify. All right, Easy Mercify. Let's see if this one's been done. We didn't do this one. Fiendish Panda. I didn't know they had pandas in the Magic the Gathering universe. This doesn't even look like a real card. This card's not even out yet. Or is it out? No, it's not even out yet. This is new. Looks like a Disney card. 4 mana for 3/2 Bear Demon. It's a bear? Oh yeah, I guess you can say pandas are a bear. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And when it dies, return another target non-bear creature card with mana value less than or equal to this creature's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. You hear that? This is not good in a bear deck. You try to make a grizzly bear deck. Don't be playing it with your Fiendish Panda. Christopher Grove. How about Bone Dancer? We be dancing with Bone Dancer. 3 mana 2/2. Summon Zombie. Pay 0. Put the top creature card of defending player's graveyard into play under your control. Bone Dancer deals no damage until this turn. Oh, sorry. Bone Dancer deals no damage this turn. Uses ability only if Bone Dancer is attacking and unblocked, and only once each turn. It's got to be the top creature card of defending player's graveyard. Oh yeah, it could be just the top one, the one on top. Again, more of these cards. You gotta keep track of graveyard order. Never again. I never had to experience it, but never again. I don't want to. Like stickers, I don't want to learn graveyard order. Lord Trevor with Gravewalker. Or sorry, not Lord Trevor. Typhon Gravewalker. Only 13 mana for a tapped creature. I think we did that one. That wasn't a super chat. You got in the way of me clicking on Lord Trevor's card. Gravewalker. Oh yeah, we looked at this one. Okay, Lord Trevor. Here's a donation. I don't use Reanimator. Oh. Well, I would have donated it to Typhon, but we already did that one. Okay, let's give it to Hexx 248. I just call you H248. Nezumi Grave Robber. How many Grave Robbers are out there? I don't know where this thing is. Oh, this card. 2 mana for a 2/1 rat. Pay 2, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. And if no cards are in that graveyard, we get to flip our Nezumi. And what are we going to flip it into? It's going to flip into the Night Eyes, the Desecrator. Also a rat wizard. A 4/2 rat wizard. And for 5 mana, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That's a lot of work. That's an achievement unlocked if you can do that. You know, it's really bad. You have to exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. So the deal is you can reanimate anything from any graveyard here. Target creature card from a graveyard. But first, you must empty your opponent's graveyard or an opponent's graveyard. You know? Then there's nothing to reanimate afterwards. Have to depend on your graveyard. Gamerzilla, Unearth, just unplayable. Oh, here's this is definitely Jasper Rab here. Unearth. Okay, so if you ask me, yeah, I think this card's terrible. I mean, I've never liked this card. Super popular though amongst a lot of people. It is very mana efficient as cycling. I just think it's jank for the most part. Anyone suggest threat? You're the third person, Typhon, to suggest Jurassic Egg. Malakir Rebirth is actually you know what? Okay, let's say it is crap. Actually, Malakir Rebirth is too good. It's actually a super popular card because it's a land at the same time, so this one doesn't count. And it saw a lot of play in Rakdos Scam. Ether Rift. Oh, we did this one. Hexanort, Whisper. Blood Liturgist. Okay, 4 mana for a 2/2 human cleric. Tap, sacrifice 2 creatures. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is the classic 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I gotta sacrifice 2 creatures to get 1. That's terrible. Belly. We got Thwart of the Grave. I guess we can get into no 2 cards yet territory. Thwart the Grave. 6 mana sorcery. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Return target creature card and up to 1 target cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I think this party mechanic was just stone cold trash. I mean, it was just bad. 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Like, even in limited, I don't even think this was easy to pull off. Christopher B with your Tiller Nephilim. Floating head in the sky. Warning! Floating head in the sky. 4 mana for a 2/2 Nephilim. Whenever it attacks, return target creature card from your graveyard to play tapped and attacking. It's not the worst. It's not. You get to keep it too, and it attacks. It's like it gives it haste, and all you have to do is attack. It's not the worst out there. Pabno, did we do the Scion of Darkness? Scion of Darkness, the 8 mana. Did we do this one? 8 mana, 6/6 trample. Deals combat damage to a player. You may put target creature card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. I think no. It looks like a card we've done, but I guess we have not done it. Well, if you bring back Ulamog or Emrakul, oh yeah, bringing those cards back would be insane. Timon, Tariel, Reckoner of Souls. What is going on here? This looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh art. It's 7 mana, 4/7, Flying Vigilance. Tap, choose a creature card at random from target opponent's grave. It's gotta be random and it's from the opponent's graveyard. Put that card onto the battlefield under your control. We got gambling over here. There's no guarantee. We have to surgically remove every single other card except the best creatures, because otherwise we're just playing with dice around here. Lego didn't even get the first card. Rescue from the Underworld. 5 mana. Oh, I remember this card. Yeah, 5 mana instant. As an additional cost to cast Rescue from the Underworld, you gotta sack a creature. Choose target creature card in your graveyard. Return that card and the sacrifice card to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of your next upkeep. And then you gotta exile Rescue from the Underworld. Another, we gotta sack a creature to get a creature job around here. What's next here? Oh boy, wants search for survivors. Three mana sorcery. Oh, we did this one. Sorry about that. Great. It's greatly awful. Yeah, shuffle your graveyard and opponent chooses a card at random. It's not often we get to shuffle our graveyard. It will really mess up with all those decks that need to like reanimate something from the top of your graveyard. This might have good synergy with that creature that you can only cast 3 deep, or like there has to be 3 creatures on top. It sounds funny. Revivify? Is that even a word? Revivify. I'm just gonna have to trust you on that one. 3 mana instant, roll a d20 and add the number of creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. So 1 to 14, return all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn to your hand. That's no good. And then 15 plus, return those cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. We want to get lucky. We got to roll that dice. Come on. 25% of the time. Happens every time. Actually, it's not 25%. 25% would be 16 plus. This is 15 plus. The odds are a little bit better than 25%. Hedgeman. Karu. Leech Lord. The Lord. Sultai, 3 generic for a 4/4 zombie wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 3. If you do, return a creature card at random from your graveyard to the battlefield. And it gains flying, and trample, and haste. Exile that card at the beginning of your next end step. And if it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Now I realize the power of that enchantment earlier, where you could sack the creature and then it goes back to the graveyard. All right, next up, Benjamin. Rise Again. It's pretty terrible. In your opinion, it's 5 mana, so it tracks. Sorcery, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Worst reanimation spell ever. 5 cents. Budget reanimator. Ooh, here's John. Wake of the Dead. Trash card. But the dead have awoken. It's in the title. Is this real? Wake the Dead. Oh, Wake the Dead. Did we see this one? Oh, we didn't. Okay. No, we didn't do this one. Black X instant. Cast this spell only during combat of an opponent's turn. Okay, it's getting worse. Return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sacrifice those creatures at the beginning of the next end step. So it is only for defense. This is death. So I wish we saw this earlier. It seems like a card. Yeah, it's really, really bad. How late are you? Well, pretty late. We're already in like the last quarter. We're on life support before the show ends. Easy Mercify. Order of White Clay. You have to pay 6 mana and untap this thing. 3 mana. Looks like a bunch of hobbits. It's a 1/4 Kithkin Cleric. 3 mana, untap it. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we have to spend 3 mana. We have to attack. Charge! And then while attacking, we might as well play this ability. MB says, well, if you return Emrakul, you still get an extra turn, right? No, Emrakul only gives you an extra turn when it's cast. Not when she's reanimated. That's the unfortunate thing about Emrakul. Toads, Extractor Demon. 6 mana for a 5/5 demon with flying. Whenever another creature leaves the battlefield, you may have target player put the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Whenever another creature leaves the battlefield, have the top 2 cards of their library. It's like a mill card. Oh, but it itself has Unearth. This card is just better. This card is better to start in the graveyard and then you just unearth it back onto the battlefield. Basically, that would better shortcut this thing. Is that how you return this card? Oh, but you have to exile at the beginning of the next end step. Well, yeah, then it's useless. Lego, Return of the Night Stalkers. Seven mana sorcery, return. Oh, we started the show with this one. Sorry about that. Scarecrow? Hard to get narrower? Scarecrow. 3 mana, 1/2 Scarecrow. Pay 1, sacrifice a Scarecrow, draw a card. Pay 4, tap, return target artifact creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. There's a lot of artifact creatures out there. They need some reanimation. They need a little love. It's interesting. Some of the better ones, they shuffle themselves back into the deck, so you can't even get them. Kono has an old school blinker. Sand Golem. Gonna sell some sand around here. 5 mana, 3/3. If a spell or effect controlled by an opponent causes you to discard Sand Golem, put Sand Golem from your graveyard into play at end of turn with a +1/+1 counter. What? Oh, if controlled by an opponent causes you to discard Sand Golem. Oh, I see. So if they target you, so if a controlled by an opponent causes you, that's I see. Okay, okay, so it's more of what's it called? It's hedging versus him to Turok. That's like make you randomly discard 2 cards, and if we randomly discard our Sand Golem, it goes right back onto the battlefield. Yeah, this card will almost never get to the graveyard. Not in this day and age. What else do we have here? Jess with Betrayer of Flesh. Oh, what's going on here? 4 mana, 4 loyalty. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less. +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature if it isn't a vehicle. Its base power and toughness is 4/4. -6, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card. I do not see the reanimate in any of this. Draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. No reanimation. Disqualified. What else do we have here? Oh, Betrayal of Flesh. Betrayal of Flesh. Okay, thank you very much. I was like, this Planeswalker, this is too good for this show. Okay, 6 mana, instant. Destroy, choose 1. Destroy target creature. Oh, we did this one. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, we did that one. Damn. I looked up the wrong card, then I look up the right card and find out we did this already. Fool's Demise. We might be running out of cards. We've looked up all the worst reanimator cards in the world. 5 mana, it's an aura, enchant creature. When enchant creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Okay. What's funny is in response to this card being played, you can just kill the creature. And when Fool's Demise is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Fool's Demise to its owner's hand. Ooh, that's value. It's actually value. Very clunky, but that value nonetheless. Old boy is like, did we do return of the... Yeah, we did Return of the Night Stalkers. You might be a little bit behind here. It was our first card. Shieldred Whispering one? Isn't all the Shieldreds great? Shieldred Whispering one. How is this bad? Swamp Walk. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacks this creature. This card's broken. This card's way too good. You have a 6/6 swamp walking creature that makes opponents sack creatures and reanimates at the same time. This card's insane. Absolutely insane. What are we missing here? Wake to Slaughter from Christopher B. Five mana. Sorcery. Choose up to 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. An opponent chooses one of them. Return that card to your hand. Return the other under your control. It gains haste. Exile at the beginning of the next end step. At least it has flashback. It's like some really clunky value card. Let's take a look at this one. Fearsome Awakening. 5 mana sorcery. Return target creature card. Ah, we did this one already, right? Oh, or maybe not. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's a dragon, put 2+1/+1 counters on it. Actually, we did not do that one. We did something similar looking. All right, that'll be it. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope you enjoy Halloween. A little something scary, or maybe not so scary. So bad that they frighten me, these cards. If you want to be part of the show, you got to be here 3 p.m. Central Standard Time on weekdays. Oh, don't forget, on Friday, there's no show tomorrow. I'm traveling. So on November 1st, canceled show. And then on Monday, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, what is it? Monday, the 4th. We're going to have an evening show. The show will be in the evening. So just giving the heads up to everybody. Thanks to everyone who supports the show. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or you super chat to be part of the show, or super chat so other people are part of the show. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here, suggesting all these crazy garbage cards. People like Nightmare, Incarnation, Beanpot, Easy, Mercify, Kano, Christopher B, David Sampson, Steve Cooper, for Ginka, Old Boy, Benjamin Berkeley, Bell, Hexanort, Pabno, Steve Cooper again, Theo Brando, Ryan Harris, David Sampson, Surefire Selves, Mamfaxo, and Toads. Happy Halloween to everyone. What are you dressing up for? Or what did you dress up for Halloween? You can let me know in the comments section below. And as usual, my coffee crew, keep bringing them coffees, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next cup.